Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, Chad Porto. Joining me, as always, is the glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are you?
Good. What it do, folks?
So, we're going to start off with a little bit of news. I got the Rona. I've already done all the jokes I can. I don't want to keep going to the same well. But I'm finally a positive human being. Thumbs up. Uh, I'm okay. I'm vaxxed, so it's not hitting me that hard. I already feel a lot better than I did 3 days ago. But, it's like the pressure's in my forehead right now. And like my ears going just like so I'm like, oh, this is a new kind of hell. Like I'm not coughing as much. The pain in my throat's gone. I can breathe fine, but it's like, oh, okay. So we didn't kill you. But that doesn't mean we're gonna leave you 100 when we're done. We're gonna take a little while we leave. So we're gonna fuck with your hearing. We're gonna fuck with your sinuses. And who knows what else we're gonna do while we're here. It's like the worst in-laws in the history of in-laws. Just gonna fuck up my house, leave, and not do anything to repair it. Nah, it's fine. But I'm alive, and I get to see some amazing stories this week because my God, we got some stories. We're starting off with Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of Raw. Marcus, what the hell?
I mean, to be fair, they just did what you did, just took them longer. Um,
Uh,
creative differences with Vince. I mean, I think a lot of people that come in got creative differences with creative, but to have it actually, according to the report, in a meeting with Vince, and it being Sasha, and to say the first time we heard about Sasha, taking umbrage with a lot of stuff creatively and speaking up and because she's been there long enough now to have a level of seniority in terms of how things go and stuff she's contributed and just who she is to be like, yo, man, this ain't it. So I commend her for standing up because a lot of people just wouldn't have the fortitude, testicular or otherwise, ovarian, if you will, in this case, to
Memorial.
to stand up to the big fish. And I commend Naomi if she truly did leave with her because that is also camaraderie of standing with not only your partner in terms of actual tag team, but with your, fellow uh, sister in that locker room. I mean, you got to set a standard because as much as a lot of people don't like, I think Nia Jax had a lot of truthful things to say in that interview that she did with Renee Paquette about a lot of people walking on eggshells and just going along to get along, even though they're disgruntled as hell
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of stuff. But they ride the waves because they rather appear happy surfing than being beached. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but Naya never said anything that we didn't already know.
yeah,
That's like her saying, "Did you see that forest fire?" And we're all like standing in the ashes of it. Like, yeah, we saw it.
Vince is mildly racist. Like, did you watch his ECW run? Mildly racist.
He called Booker T my N word. We know.
You wore a do rag. Vince ain't never had no waves. The fuck?
He tried to cover up a 15-year-old ring boy sex scandal in the early 1980s. We know he's a douchebag. Thanks, Naya. Did you also know pizza's good? Big secret there. Don't tell anyone. The thing though is that like Sasha has not just seniority, she has untouchability. She's a draw. Maybe not a big draw, but she's a big enough draw merchandise sales wise that they don't want to lose her. And she comes with a lot of industrial clout. Though I always wonder how much there is there because like Sasha is related to Snoop Dogg. She's cousins. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
first cousins, second cousins, or what have you. So like you don't want to lose that Hollywood connection, but on the other hand, Sasha Banks talked about living in her car for a long time when she was young, and Snoop Dogg never helped her out. So like I wonder how close they actually were. Because I would imagine if one of my young cousins I was close was living in the house, living in their car, and I had the means to help them, I would. I don't know. I've always wondered about that. So I look at this and like, yeah, Sasha could pretty much bitch smack Vince take a deuce on the rug, kick a Make-A-Wish kid in the nuts, and still get booked for a WrestleMania main event.
Oh, no.
Mark's like, no, Chad, no, too far. But Naomi, on the other hand, is a good hand. She's very likable, but she's not a draw. She does not have the same industrial clout that Banks does. She doesn't have the same name brand Banks does. And she just walked out with her. Like, if I'm trying to get LeBron James and he's like, yeah, but J.R. Smith's got to come with me, like, I'll consider that. But if I'm looking to get rid of like if I'm having issues with both LeBron and J.R. Smith, I'm not necessarily going to keep J.R. Smith just because I'm keeping LeBron.
It's also that weird thing too, because it's like if you got an interview, you needed to impress, I guess, your boss or whatever to get a promotion. You wanted to bring your wife to the dinner to kind of, spruce it up, if you will. And he ends up insulting your wife, like really insulting your wife. And she walks out. Like, do you stay? Like, you got to go home with her. Like, in a way, she's kind of maritally tied to Sasha in that way, and she's kind
Mm-hmm.
of it's worse, specifically from a locker room perspective, if she won't even legitimately stand with her tag partner. Because also we got to also take into account, like, this is the second run Sasha's had with those titles. Well, second run in terms of a different partner. I think she might have got them twice with Bailey. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it sounds like the fix was in again by like cutting off at the knees when she's holding that belt, and I just feel like she didn't feel like going through that again. Because her and Bailey legitimately, I think, campaigned to get those titles, got those titles, and wanted to be the spearhead, for, like taking it across all the promotions, well, all the brands, if you will, and being some real definitive champions. And they kept getting cut off at the knee. Like, don't have me be a champion and look weak to people who's not even contenders.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I get it, and then I definitely get what you're saying with the Naomi situation, because um, as we've learned recently, more so than years past, like nobody's not expendable. But I think it's one of those times where you got to stand your ground. If you can't stand with the your tag team partner who's bold enough to stand up, what I would imagine was not only for just herself, but Naomi and the rest of the women. You got to set up situations like that. So like I said, it's commendable, could backfire, but you could do everything right in that company, and it could obviously still backfire. So what's the point? You might as well stand on your stuff.
And I do hope Sasha goes to bat for Naomi because if things do go the way I think they will, where Naomi gets fired, Sasha gets sent home, then brought back, and Sasha doesn't raise hell, then she's just a bad person at that point. Like if I'm Sasha Banks, I tell her Naomi to stay. Like you and I both know we don't have the same clout right now. You and I both know that we are both going to be treated differently when this blows over. Do not follow me because I do not want you to suffer the consequences. But that's not what happened. Maybe that's what she said. Maybe Naomi's like, I don't care if I get fired. Like that's fair. Some people are just done. I've been there. I've been so done. I just quit. Been like straight up lights. Goodbye. But also on the other hand, like I was ready for that. Who knows? Like, and see, this is why like I don't want to jump too hard in on one side or the other because like maybe
Yeah.
Naomi's done. Like maybe she's just done. She's like, all right, fire me. I don't care. Maybe she felt obligated to leave with Sasha. Maybe Sasha demanded. Maybe she demanded that she doesn't follow her. Like we don't know. Lots of unknown situations at the moment. So it's a very interesting situation. We will definitely keep an eye out on it because it's going to be certainly worth watching. Another one that's worth watching, and that's not so late breaking, is that MJF may not be interested in re-signing with AEW. Word going around is that Cody's getting in his ear and he's like, "Hey, come on over to the dark side." And
Oh,
Fightful's reporting on that they have not between MJF and AEW, they have not had any outright negotiations or have spoken, and they are reporting not addressed any overtures towards the company yet. So it's something. Now, some of what's being discussed is that MJF isn't happy that he's getting paid what he's getting paid for his current deal, and he wants more money for his current deal. Tony Khan is probably like, listen, I'll pay you next year when your contract's up, but I'm not paying you before I have to. That's stupid. And because of this, MJF thinks that he's entitled to more. Now, I've long said that MJF isn't playing a character. He's just a bad person that people are thinking is a good dude. Playing a bad person. Because the things MJF does to fans under the guise of I'm just doing this as a heel has the real profound ability to backfire spectacularly. But he doesn't care. And I feel like he really does believe his own hype, which is ironic because you and I both said he's not that good. In the ring, he is average. And if we're thinking about this logically, his edgy, extreme, anti-fan personality would get him fired in the WWE. Like, they don't let guys use certain terms when insulting one another because they're afraid of blowback from the sponsors. MJF would just be nerfed in that company and would be at best whatever Trevor Lee's gimmick is as Cameron Grimes.
He's already look. He can talk. He's got a certain, I guess aesthetic. Some people may say, but guys like me and Chad, he's overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Some say severely so. The only thing that kind of makes it stand out is rare that you see somebody in these day and times with so much transparency, so much of the curtain pulled back, the proverbial wrestling curtain pulled back, if you will. You don't really see a lot of people committing that much to the character to a persona, both on and off screen. But that would also lend to your point of like how much of it at this point is a character, as opposed to this guy's legitimate a hole. And now he's just, this character is hitting. Now he's using it as an excuse to be who he's always been.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not working for him on screen, and then he can, even liveling that up off screen. So, like, I don't know if Cody's in his ear. Not like you said. If he is, I personally would listen because I feel like he's in a far better position to at least get closer to being a world champion where he is than come to WWE because he's not Cody. He ain't Cody. Not exactly over the moon, speaking of Cameron Grimes, to the moon and all that stuff with Cody. But Cody has history. He has lineage. He has a lot of different intangibles, and specifically in certain scenarios, depending on what you do with him, that MJ just don't have. He go to WWE, he have an EC3 run.
If he's lucky.
Exactly. That's the best case scenario, and we've seen what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
So the EC3 that is. So look, man, uptick in pay ain't always the best thing. We've seen people that make insane amounts of money walk out on that company because they're being insulted and wasting quality years of their wrestling life, not actually wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, look, man, he can try to hold that over Khan's head, but if he's gonna pay you anyway, you can afford to wait. So
Sometimes people make poor decisions because they let their egos get in the way. Sometimes they make poor decisions because they're not as smart as they think they are. Anyone who's watching the WWE scene right now can tell you that there's no reason to sign there. Period. There's no guarantee they're going to use you. There's no guarantee they're going to use you right. There's no guarantee that you're going to look better leaving that promotion than you did going into it. And MJF is one of those characters that he could easily find himself going from main eventing pay-per-views like EC3 did in Impact to being the hot new-ish down in NXT, then to having to start your own promotion because no one else wants to deal with your bullshit. So I could see 2024, MJF is NXT. 2025, MJF is controlling his own narrative.
yeah, going back to the NXT thing from Maxwell Jacob Freeman to like Mr. Juicy Fox or something, whatever in the hell they changed their name to.
Okay, no, that's awesome.
Mr. Juicy Fox. Yeah,
That's
they're
awesome.
Like,
I am Mr. Juicy Fox.
I'm juicier than you, and you know it. Like it's so it's like I get it, man, but like wait till you can actually like you got more tenure and you've moved the proverbial needle, if you will, not shocking some people with fan interactions at shows because that's not even a thing. that's really moving stuff anymore. Like, if anything, people are going to those shows waiting for that baddie section with Jade. Um, and shout out to her with Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan. Never get tired of seeing those three. But, like, back to your point about the ego thing. Whether it's Jericho telling the one thing or Cody or what have you, I just park it. Because it could also get to a point, because who knows what's going to happen with him after this whole Wardlow thing. And you've already talked about, like, this Wardlow is like this, this non-Batista gimmick.
He's Triton 2.0.
Triton, yeah. Or like I guess a more honed version. Remember Mason Ryan? Speaking of Batista,
yep, I could see that.
So it's a thing, man. But I wish the kid luck. I ain't got nothing against him personally, but he is really overrated to me, specifically, like you said, in the ring. Kind of reminds me of Adam Cole in a way, except he has a less intriguing arsenal. And like I always say with Cole, his arsenal is full of moves I'd rather see other people do, but at least I recognize and can appreciate more of the moves that he does, I guess.
Yeah, Adam Cole just stole the best moves of all the other better wrestlers. That's all Adam Cole is. I said it. Fight me. Fight me. And do it now while I can get you all sick. Come for me. So, speaking of coming for people. Can't talk about Ric Flair.
Transition game.
So we were right, Marcus. A few weeks ago, we were talking about that video of Jay Lethal and Ric Flair bumping in that little garage or whatever it was, and I'm like, oh god, Flair's trying for a comeback attempt, and you're like, really? I'm like, I don't know, but this is what it feels like. I don't like being right as often as I am. So Flair announced the news on Twitter. It's true. The rumors are true. I'm going. Why does he text with capital letters at the start of every word? The rumors are true. I am going to walk that aisle, style, and profile. All right, you fucking speak and spell. He says one last time. Doubt it. July 31st, Nashville, Tennessee, Jim Crockett Promotions. We'll get back to that one. Will prove once again that to be the man, you've got to beat the man. Now we go to school. Woo! Tickets. RicFlairsLastMatch.com. Some reason it takes us to WrestleMania 24 websites. I don't know. But so I didn't know Jim Crockett Promotions was still around, Marcus. Jim Crockett Promotions used to be the entity that became the NWA, which became WCW.
The Flair's like Thunderdome, Silverdome, whatever the hell. Yeah, I mean, look, this whole because it's the last match thing. I guess is the marketing ploy. Yeah, I don't believe it for a second. I mean, the fact that I can appreciate the fact that everything he's gone through, the man can still do what he can do at the age he can do it. That don't mean he needs to be doing it.
You're not wrong. This is going to be a train wreck. And I know a lot of people are like, well, Sting's 62. Sting's also wrestling 8 times a year in tag matches, where Darby Allin does 94% of the bumps.
About to say he's a tag team wrestler and the hot tagger.
Yeah, he's the he's the kickstand of Darby Allin's bicycle.
Like Sting's gimmick now is literally a mentor and picking his spots. Like literally. Like it's not the same thing. It's really not the same thing. Sting has awareness enough to know, what he can do, where he should do it at, which thankfully he does, because not a lot of people get to his stage or his age in the business and realize that most people still want to pretend like they're 20, but not everybody's PCO, so.
So, I feel like this is reminiscent of Terry Funk to a degree with Sting. Like, the Funker wasn't great when he was still wrestling in his 60s, but he was serviceable. He was an attraction act. I don't know what Flair has at 73, but I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to. There's something about this that screams train wreck.
Something about this. There's an elderly intrigue here. Um, yeah, we know what he got at 73. He had a pacemaker. Fucking- Um,
Well, at least we know something's going to be keeping pace.
so it's like I said, man, I can appreciate the fact that these guys can still go him and Steamboat because a lot of people that have had the time that they've had in the business can't walk on even here anymore. So um, but yeah, man, I don't know, man. I prefer him to use the last of that energy to kind of just continue to take advantage of him still being one of the most recognizable and some circles likable, and I guess depending on what he does, profitable pop culture figures ever. He got a podcast. I'm pretty sure he can be endorsing some stuff. I mean, I don't know how he's not on like those commercials for those sexual enhancement drugs or whatever.
Because you need to
Uh,
have a heart healthy enough to do it.
yeah, this is true. But I feel like with everything we've seen, they have like a some type of medication that matches up with a pacemaker. Because at this point, like if I'm looking at this point, I'm looking at all these bright and sunny. Like they damn near doing like MCU commercials for like herpes. I, I dread it, run from it, herpes still arise, but it can be good. Like, it's this weirdest thing. So I feel like it's a lot of stuff he could do. Like I said, you got the podcast, million stories a man can tell. Things he can do. We've seen people get some of the most horrific injuries on doing some of the simplest stuff like a baseball slide. I don't want to see him potentially cripple himself or God knows, anything else. Because he needed to have one last match, which probably ain't even his one last match.
Yeah, I don't believe it's his last match. Like, it might end up being, but I don't think anyone believes that it's actually going to be. Like, if he has any say in it, I don't think no one believes it. That being said, we do know that it's not going to be a one-on-one match, so thank God for that. Dave Meltzer's reporting that it's going to be a six-man tag with Ric Flair tagging with FTR. And I can't believe I'm about to say this sentence in 2022. With their opponents being the Rock and Roll Express and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
So we're gonna see I think I'm missing Jesus. A Canadian destroyer, um, a dragon splash. If I got that correct, and obviously a figure four. Because Flair ain't jumping off of nothing. God, I hope he's not jumping off of nothing.
Marcus, this is going to be the oldest match, I think, in wrestling history.
Oh, I mean, since we here, do you think he has the wherewithal, cares to have the wherewithal to pull a Daniels and be like, you know what, it's singlet time?
God, I don't think so. Part of me is like, yeah, you need to do singlet, buddy. Like, you should have been doing a singlet like 2007. On the other hand, it's also like, I don't know if I want to see you in a singlet though. Like that
Yeah,
that's
it's,
not the Flair I know.
it's the Toy Story 2 thing. Like, we need you presented as is on commercial.
Basically. So just here's the math alone. Between the Rock and Roll Express, Flair, and Steamboat, you're looking at 269 combined years of life.
Okay, now, what is that calculating years in the business?
Um, Probably 40, 40, 80, 160, maybe.
Okay.
I would
I guess
imagine.
the one that's been in the I guess in the ring more recently would be I guess the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, they're still pretty regular.
Yeah.
So
At that.
counting Hardwood and Wheeler, we have 34 and 37. That takes us to 340 years combined living. We divide that by 6. Marcus, the average age of participants in this match is going to be 57 years old.
Hold on, you said that's the youngest person?
Wheeler is going to be 34, and he's the youngest. The combined age of everyone involved, all 6 participants, the Rock and Roll Express, Steamboat, Flair, and FTR, is 340 combined years. If we divide that by the number of participants, that's 6. We get the average age of competitor, which is 57. This might be the oldest per age match ever. And I'm here for it. Like if Flair actually suffers a heart attack in the ring, not dies from it, but has one, this is gonna be 1999 all over again.
What's even worse, we're not gonna know because it's Flair. We're gonna think he's selling.
Oh God, maybe you're not wrong. I there's a part of me that's morbid and really wants to see Steamboat back in the ring, right? Because he's always been one of my favorites, and the dude retired too young due to a back injury. And then we were going to get his son Richie, and he was looking like a dime. But then all of a sudden his back blows out and he's done. And I'm just like, ugh. Then we got some Steamboat and MLW this year. And I was like, that's dope. And now we're getting him in a wrestling match. And I'm just like, all right. I guess.
I mean, I figure like that, more than anybody that's extremely safe with FTR, nothing but respect, nothing but willingness to protect those guys and highlight them in any way they can. I don't think they got any qualms about, laying down on the sword or whatever to make sure they come out looking the best they can. Because they can take L's and whatnot. They're still young. They still got a lot to do. But anything can happen. So I hope they keep things within a modicum of uh, relative, I guess, calm in terms of stuff that they do. Because, like I said, if they Steamboat and Flair keep it on the Sting side where they do stuff that's impactful, Flair does his, Flairism, if you will. Don't do too much. If he does do a back body drop, we know what's going on his side. I would imagine Steamboat's doing the same thing. But they don't really need to do much to get the crowd popping. So, hopefully this ain't they don't try to pull a Hardys, if you will.
Some punches, some chops, a few arm drags, and then you tag out.
Yeah. All you gotta do is do some taunts, do some stares. It's not a lot like this. You don't need to pull a tag team. What is this? A 6-man tag? It's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't need to do like that match. Darby and Jeff had what that was on Rampage. It was goddamn ridiculous. But that's what they do. That's who they are. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I'm intrigued, not morbidly so, because I don't legitimately want to see anything happen. But I don't think I've seen Steamboat do anything since. I guess the last person they would have jumped in WWE was who? Was it Heath? Who was taking the L's?
I think so. He did stuff with WrestleMania back with Jericho and Piper and Snuka.
Yeah, so there's that. But yeah. When is it supposed to take place, by the way?
July 31st, part of the StarCast 5 event.
Okay.
So, kind of just a point of emphasis. Up until 2019, about 3 years ago, Tito Santana was still wrestling pretty regularly, like at least once a month. And he's 69 now, so like this is not as uncommon as people think it is, but it's still pretty damn uncommon. So let's talk Kota Ibushi, who's found himself in all sorts of hot water. Kota's a mercurial individual. He often does things that's unpredictable. And a lot of American wrestling fans don't know how to speak Japanese or read it. There's a lot of subtext and context when it comes to Japanese language, to the point where anyone who's not a fluent Japanese speaker shouldn't be trying to decipher it. There we go. He tweeted out a bunch of things, and because Japan uses more symbols than it does, fluid like a fluid verbiage.
Hmm.
There's a lot of context that could be missing unless you understand all of the symbols. And he used the symbol for an antisocial group, and now everyone is saying, well, that's the same symbol for the Yakuza. While true, it's also not. And now everyone in America is like, oh, yeah, you didn't know that New Japan had ties to the Yakuza? Bitch, you didn't know. And no one knows because no one's saying anything. So stop. Just stop. It's embarrassing. New Japan's owned by a major entertainment corporation, and the odds that they would be in bed with the Yakuza is slim to nil, considering they know exactly what happened to Pride when it was revealed by Japanese authorities that Pride had ties to the Yakuza. They basically lost everything and were investigated. And yeah, it did not go their way. So there's no real benefit to being in bed with the Yakuza anymore, especially when you're owned by such a major conglomerate like New Japan is. So everyone now thinks that New Japan is sided to the Yakuza, and that's bad publicity, especially with dumb Americans not knowing how to read Japanese. I don't know how to read. I don't know how to read Japanese. I'm dumb, but I'm also not jumping to any conclusions either. But Kota wants out of New Japan, and Kota has been long accused of being a himbo, which is basically a male bimbo. Like he's not a bright person. He once said that he doesn't like reading books because he doesn't like being influenced by other people's opinions. That was not a gimmick. That was him being honest. He's not a smart man. But he does dumb flippy doos, and he might be in some kind of romantic entanglement with Kenny Omega. So people are like, "Oh, I trust Kota Ibushi. He's what I want to be." Instead of asking yourself, "Is he someone you should be trusting?" Kota Ibushi's nearly 40 years old, been getting dropped on his head for 30 years, and has a history of saying dumb shit. I don't know. That just seems to me like someone I wouldn't want to put my faith into. I'm kind of common sense like that. I also don't trust New Japan because they're a major corporation now. I don't trust major corporations. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just not going to take a dog in this horse race. And yes, I understand what I just said. I may have COVID brain. I got myself locked out of my house Friday because I forgot my keys. I have COVID brain. But I know what I just said. It's the absurdity of the point. Now, do I think Kota is telling the truth that New Japan has ties to the Yakuza? Why would Kota know that? Unless the Yakuza's, coming in and manhandling him, I don't think he would know that. That seems like something that people would want to keep down on the extreme DL. It's not like with Fedor Emelianenko, where the Yakuza was doing the negotiations with the New Japan, with the Pride Fighting MMA contracts. No. That's not what this is. So I don't see how Kota would even know that. Now, he also is alleging forms of abuse. I don't know if that's not true, because I feel like when you start talking about being abused by an employer, unless you have hard facts one way or another, you just kind of let it exist. Because we've seen, excuse me, plenty of times in this year alone where the quote unquote victim with quote unquote no reason to lie has in fact lied. What up, Amber Heard? So we're at this point now where it's like, do I trust Kota Ibushi? No. Do I not believe Kota Ibushi? No. I don't know what to believe. We don't have any facts. And until we have any facts, it's all speculation. But apparently the speculation's pissed off New Japan. But they haven't fired him yet. According to Dave Meltzer, he notes that Ibushi remains with New Japan. Considering all this is because Ibushi wants New Japan to release him from his contract, who's to say that this isn't all just some ploy by Ibushi to bring heat on New Japan to get his way? Despite this, Meltzer is reporting that New Japan and its parent company, Bushi Road, were not happy with the publicity brought forth by Kota Ibushi's comments last week. Last Tuesday, Kota Ibushi shocked the wrestling landscape when he fired off numerous posts on Twitter stating that he was going to expose the cheaters, gun, and sexually harassing bosses. Maybe it's cheaters goon? I don't know. The former IWGP Heavyweight Champion also posted multiple conversations between himself and the New Japan higher-up Yoshiki Kikuchi. The conversations revealed a dispute between Ibushi and Kikuchi over Ibushi returning from a shoulder injury at G1 Climax last year. Kikuchi At one point, suggested ending Ibushi's contract, which Ibushi wasn't bothered by. Ibushi continued to be active on Twitter going into the weekend, including lobbing some more accusations against New Japan. As noted by Meltzer, seemed to quiet down after one final tweet on Saturday. I will fight until the end, Ibushi said. I will not surrender to them. With several wrestlers have cryptically alluded to Kota Ibushi's situation on social media, the only New Japan star of note who officially commented on the matter is Toru Yano, who did so on his podcast. According to Meltzer, Yano stated he wasn't thrilled. Ibushi was confusing fans with his outburst, but also said he was still at Ibushi's friend and he was still part of New Japan, though it's not confirmed whether this tweet was in regards to Kota Ibushi or not. Meltzer also noted that a tweet in Japanese by AEW star Kenny Omega this past Friday. Omega and Bushi were known in New Japan as the Golden Lovers. What was the tweet? Fire of Resurrection will burn bright again someday. Let's hang on until then, everybody. So, again, like, I don't think Toru Yano knows much more than Ibushi does about any allusions to anything more. But I also think that him saying that, trying to confuse fans on purpose. So, I don't know. I don't have any thoughts on this matter. I do believe that Kota Ibushi may be intentionally trying to throw gasoline on the fire. Because apparently that's going to be the theme for the summer. Japanese people as gasoline on fires. Because they're looking at the Cobra Kai season. What are we on? Season 5 already?
Season 5.
I am the fire, LaRusso, and I am the gasoline.
Like, no, I didn't mean legitimately stab him. God damn it, Chosen.
if the entire season is just Chosen stabbing people randomly, I'm gonna love this. Chosen, we need to make sure we stab them in the face before they stab us in the back. And then he turns around and he sees them like stabbing like some like burger vendor in the face. Chosen, not the burger vendor. Ah, dang, I'm so sorry. Then he stabs a cabbie, stabs a soccer kid.
Yo,
Chosen,
man,
stop stabbing everybody.
So glad that's coming in with August, because if that was on at the same time as the Orville and the Boys, sheesh.
When is the Boys back?
I think the Boys is back June 3rd as well, if I'm not mistaken. They just dropped the trailer today.
I haven't seen the trailer yet. Marcus, do you put a lot of faith in Kota Ibushi, or do you think that maybe his past personality quirks have made him unreliable?
I think a lot of things can be true at the same time, man. Look, if his deepest desire to truly lead New Japan, I would imagine it would be to potentially eventually reunite with his golden lover. And who knows? Maybe he just wants to take a break. But essentially, there was no clear path for him to finally be world champion. Then when Omega left, is what I always said, thought and said. And obviously, he reached the mountaintop. Afterwards, went through a lot of hills, peaks, and valleys, but he eventually had a lot of success. And maybe whatever's going on, true or otherwise, he's kind of tired of. He's had his time in New Japan. He's been there for years, classic matches, what have you. He's done his time there, and he's kind of just done. I think, like you said on Twitter, man, you can't really believe anything right now, because it's like that line from Captain America's Civil War. It's people with agendas, and agendas change. So if his agenda is to slowly get out of there, whatever's clever is whatever's clever he's going to use to get out of there. And for the company, if they get spiteful and turn WWE on some petty stuff, they could try to lock him in, and it's only going to get worse as things come up. More stuff is going to be alleged and said about things, and he's going to be viewed as a bad employee. He's going to say they're a bad employer, and it's just going to ultimately hurt New Japan, specifically when they're hosting right now one of their best tournaments, being the best of Super Juniors. So, just bad all around. But like you said on Twitter, don't all of a sudden just jump to Ibushi's side because you feel like he's the high quality guy here.
Yeah, Ibushi's an antisocial human being. He does not like contracts. He doesn't like working for big companies. He doesn't like feeling that someone has control over his dominion. He's very much is going to do things his own way, and if you prevent him, he's going to lash out. This isn't a new thing. This is the whole reason why it took him 15 years to land in New Japan. because for the longest time he did not want to work for New Japan. He wanted to work for DDTs and for All Japans and for anyone else that could, Dragon Gates and for anyone else that was going to let him tour. He did the Cruiserweight Classic and was going to win it and become the first Cruiserweight champion until he told the WWE he's not signing a contract. Then they made the fatal decision to try to make TJP a star. So we had to blame Ibushi for that as well. So there's a lot with Ibushi's personality that makes me think he's unreliable. But then again, any major corporation can be seen as unreliable as well because you're protecting profits. Now, a Japanese company, to me, has more ethics usually than an American promotion. So I don't know how much there is with that because the idea of lying for profit is frowned upon. I wish it was frowned upon here. But some people still do it. It's not like, you can't paint an entire society with the same brush. Like there may be ethics and values inherently in that society that speaks to doing business honorably and respectfully. That doesn't mean everyone does it. So I don't know if New Japan is ran by good people. I don't know if they're not. I don't know if we're going to see an investigation or if past names with the promotion like Harold Meiji or Maijo, whatever his name was, are going to come forward eventually. So, this could be a big story. Or it could be a bunch of bullshit that Kota was spreading to get out of the contract. Now, either way, this is going to ruin someone's career. Either the accusations of the Yakuza involvement are true, in which case New Japan may never recover international, or they're going to be revealed not to be true, and Kota Ibushi is going to be seen as a fraud. So, I hope you kept your receipts. It may not be tax time anymore, but I hope you kept your receipts. Speaking of keeping your receipts, Zachary once wants to talk about his receipts. He's not talking about the allegations that his ex-wife Kimberly has made. No, not yet. But he has finally addressed the photo from 2015 of him having a pencil-thin mustache and doing a Nazi salute. The statement reads as following. No words can truly describe how ashamed and... All right, we're going to skip that part. The picture was taken in 2015 at a time where I was uneducated on the topic and therefore didn't understand how hurtful it was. In 2020, someone was trying to extort me by threatening to post it on social media. I sent it to my wife to discuss the situation. Apparently, she kept it and then decided in retaliation for the filing of a divorce post to post it to social media. And regardless of how the photo came to light, there's still no excuse for my actions. So... he goes on and apologizes, talks about the Holocaust, advises people to go to the Orlando Maitland area to check out the Holocaust Memorial Resource and Education Center. Yada, yada, yada. But that's the interesting part, that this was taken in 2015, 7 years ago. And he would have been what, Marcus? 17, 18, 23, 42? Is Zachary Wentz an immortal? He is 28 years old now, so he would have been 21 then. I'm going to call bullshit on the not being educated. And, here's the thing. That's not an excuse. If you get arrested and you go in front of a judge and the cop says, I found Marcus peeing on a chicken in the middle of the street while drunk in public. And Marcus's defense is, I didn't know that was illegal. The judge would respond with, ignorance of the law is no excuse. And then he would fine him $500 and have him go to a chicken recovery center where he learns about why peeing on chickens is traumatizing to chickens.
All fouls lives matter.
But when I say all fouls' lives matter, I'm not saying that roosters' lives don't. So I don't sit here and go, yeah, Zach, that makes sense. You're 21 years old. You don't know how bad Nazism was. If you were 13, okay. I wish you would just tell the truth. I like dark humor. I thought it was funny. I sent it to somebody privately because I know they like dark humor. It wasn't like we're secretly Nazis. It's that we're secretly very dark people that enjoy the macabre. it's being used against me, and I'm sorry that I ever made it. But you got to remember, I'm big brain dumb, Dad, and I thought it was funny. And I've been like, all right, we've all had the edgy period of our sense of humor. I get it. But doing the, I just didn't know how bad it was. Ugh, whoever your PR guys act, you need to fire him. You need to spank him in the face with a belt first and then fire him because he's not helping you. The other part of that's interesting is that he flat out said, yeah, I was being extorted. I went to my wife for help and she turned it on me. And I feel like even though he's doing that as a way to kind of like push the blame off him, I feel like it kind of worked. Because on one hand, Kimberly has been caught in a couple lies. And in the other hand, like we haven't really heard anything about him and her going forward. And I feel like if I'm him and I know I didn't do this shit and she's accusing me of, I'm calling a lawyer and be like, what can we do to not just reclaim my personality, my identity and all that, but how can we fuck her up?
Wait a minute. So he's claiming that wasn't him, and she put it out.
No. He's saying it's him. He's saying he didn't know how awful it was, that he was uneducated on the actions.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, of Nazism.
But that his wife still blackmailed him with it.
No, he said that he was being extorted by somebody. And then in
Oh,
2020, because the photo was taken in 2015, in 2020 he sent that photo to his wife because he was being extorted, and he asked her for basically her opinion on the matter. So she took advantage of him being extorted by a third party, kept the photo, and then when it was time to sink him, used it like a torpedo. So,
well, like I get sending it to somebody familiar, but if you being extorted, that's immediately I would imagine a legal thing.
yeah. That's why some of this doesn't make sense, because like if I'm being extorted, one, how did you find my Pornhub search history? Two, I'm not going to my wife on Twitter or through text. I'm going to the police, being like, hey, I'm being extorted, man. Because guess what? The worst that's going to happen to me is I have to say an apology. The worst that's going
Yeah,
to happen to the extorter, they're going to jail for 10 years.
or at least getting yourself some legal counsel or
Right?
some cousin who a lawyer, or call somebody who knows somebody who's a lawyer, or some type of person in legal field. Hell, hit up um a law student or something. This boy, but your wife, that's this is not the minute you start being extorted, this ain't somebody you call for emo. This is, like I said, it's a legal situation, and calling somebody that's, also has a personal attachment to you and investment, they're gonna, probably give you an immediate emotional response. But if they're smart, they're gonna be like, what you calling me for? You need to be on the phone with Eric Gayrod or something. I don't know.
Well,
Um,
Marcus, you got to understand that for Kimberly and Zachary Wentz, they lived in Ohio. And Ohio is for lovers. And if they can't make it on their own, because their hearts are in Ohio. If I can't make Hawthorne Heights into a show at least once a
that
month, I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
but that's a hell of a thing though, to be initially extorted by somebody else, then send it to your wife for help with said extortion. Or
And then to be extorted by your wife. I feel like this is a movie.
I feel
It's
like
a
we could.
Lifetime movie.
Damn it, Chad! I was just gonna say. I feel like this is a Scooby Doo mystery with a long game.
And that Scooby Doo video you sent me that was adorable.
When I first seen it, I say, "Oh no, this Chad's gonna love this. He's gonna love it because I know how much you know the actor that plays Shaggy."
Matthew Lillard is an American icon, and people need to respect that. From his turn as the villain in Scream to his run as Shaggy in the live action Scooby Doo, and everything he's done since then, he is just a delight.
People don't give him enough credit for the way he committed to that character,
No.
uh, in that movie. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's a seriously unfortunate turn of events, and him coming out, and I guess the angle would be, him telling about, first of all, I was extorted, then try to send it to her. Now she's flipping it back on me. Doesn't wipe away the Hitler thing. And obviously, although I guess it's scientifically proven, I'm not mistaken that the brain isn't fully developed till you're 25. Like you said, to your point, if you took it to court, there would be no excuse of the law. If it was something that, like you said, chicken pissing or or something to that effect. But it's like, look, at this point in this generation, we know, you know, kids, hell, 10 and under that come off smarter than most adults. So
Marcus, I
you have,
learned about the Holocaust in eighth grade. Wince and I went to the same state. We have the same curriculum. I know he learned about it when he was 13. So, like, I don't know, like, and he's not that much younger than me. He's only like 6 years younger than me. So, like,
yeah,
I'm sitting here wondering, Marcus, like, why? And like, here's the thing: why wouldn't you just go with the I like dark humor, I like offensive humor?
or something, I guess that sounds more PR friendly. It's not that I wasn't aware of the consequences, I just didn't think they applied to me at the time.
Like,
Oh,
even that would have been
yeah.
better than him going, "I was ignorant." Oh, you weren't. You were just fucking belligerent. And like, I'm not like even that mad about it because dumb people do dumb things when they're dumb and young. It's not that you did it; it's that you're fucking skirting the issue. It's no one believes that you didn't realize the Nazi salute was bad. No one believes that.
It's also one of these things at this point too, is that's not something that obviously is deeply engrossed in our zeitgeist as a society, but it's not the pop culture thing the way it's like we just talked about on the last show, all those '90s things that we the baggy pants, the big chains, the random band-aids for no reason, the oversized clothes, all that. You see that, that's more regular. Nobody's like, man, bro, it's a lot of people doing a lot of Nazi salutes lately. That's just coming back. Like, no, that's one of those things that you do because you know that it's something you're not supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're doing it because you're trying to get a reaction, you're trying to be a jerk about it, I don't approve it, but I understand it because sometimes people are just antagonistic.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what he was trying to do. But he's not smart enough to frame that in a logical, concise way. All he had to do was like, my friend and I like dumb, evil, shitty, bullshit humor that makes us laugh. Like it's dark comedy, and we shouldn't like it, but it's how we thought back then. And I'd be like, all right, because like when we were 20, we all liked a little dark humor because we didn't have the context of a larger scale in our life. Like man, and like we talked about it even a few weeks ago with like comedy. Comedy has evolved since like 1999, 2000. Like what you can and can't say anymore. So of course you're gonna have a little bit of edginess. Like everyone's a little edge lord. I'm sure Marcus at 19 was an edge lord. I don't know what that would have looked like.
You ever seen Caillou? No.
Wait, what?
Caillou. No. Um, no, but oh, Mr. Rogers with the sweaters, no. Even though that's probably how I would dress now if I could. But
Yeah, you don't live in the temperament for that look.
it's the it's that weirdest thing. I vaguely forgot my train of thought, but the yeah, like you said, the edge lower thing trying to come off bad. Oh, I got it now. It's this weird thing like when somebody has to give an apology, and the minute the first thing they hit you with is "I'm sorry you took it that way." Like when you get painted as the bad guy and you have to make recompense, you can't focus on not being the bad guy. You have
Mm-hmm.
to focus on the right thing, and that doesn't always like one of me and Chad's favorite movies is The Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, he's the lesser of the bad guys.
Okay, he's still well aware that he's not a good person.
Yeah, yeah. Like he's like the right thing he does in the movie is financially help out his newfound friends. That doesn't make him any less of a bad guy. I mean, he wiped out a lot of people in that movie. Um, but I feel like
He
in this
tortured a
situation,
dude.
exactly with a popsicle nonetheless, but he tortured the guy. And a steak, which was hilarious. But yeah, I think he's so focused on this and trying not to come off like a Nazi sympathizer that he's should kind of missing the point. It's like, dude, just say you did it, because that'll go over better with people because we all do stupid stuff.
Hmm.
Some of us do less stupid stuff than that, but it's like just say, look, I effed up, not good. Certainly not something I do again, but I'm not running from it. But like the oh no, like look, yeah, I know what that looks like, but look, I got extorted, and then such and such got sent to it. Now they extorted me, and it's just all bad. I'm really down on my luck. You know what I'm saying? Like just
I was
you
having
know,
an eczema outbreak. My arm was suffering a form of lockjaw syndrome, and I couldn't put it down. And I was sending a picture to my doctor. I was like, "Look, my arm won't go down. Look at what the dermatology's been doing to my face."
yeah, it's like, and I barely gone out the house since, but then I went out last week trying to get from up under this thing, and now I got COVID. Like really? Like, you
How did
know
I
what?
get brought into this?
Meanwhile, if it was all truth, you know what his first statement to say? My bad.
My bad.
That's on me. That's on me.
Still one of the greatest segments in wrestling history. Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, but yeah, man, like you said, he need to get his PR together.
He really does. I was gonna say something again, but I lost it. Dude, this COVID brain is real. Uh, Speaking of real, we have the main event for Slammeroo all hashed out. So let's talk about some little optimism, if you can be optimistic about this. Eric Young is going to take on Josh Alexander for the world title, and Marcus, I am.
Nah, I get it. I get your
Hmm.
disappointment. I too am disappointed. I almost would have, you know.
Right?
Okay, can't get away from this particular area of villain. Do you feel better about it if it's Doring and they build
Yes.
it up?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Because Doring is a former All Japan Triple Crown champion. He's somebody who always should have been in that role. And I don't know why he's been a silent heavy because he's one of the better big men workers the last 20 years, but we haven't seen it because Impact has been holding him back. Now, he's also older. He's 40 and he's had a brain tumor removed, if I remember correctly. He's
Mm.
wrestled that All Japan style. So who knows if he can even do that style anymore at his age? So, like, I understand that maybe we're getting the best version of Doring possible,
Yeah.
but I don't know that because we haven't been given the opportunity to see it, and I would rather see someone like Joe Doring versus Josh Alexander because that would be a fresh matchup of two guys with similar styles. Instead, Eric Young is this weird hybrid 90s Doink the Clown wrestler meets Tommy Dreamer. And I don't mean that to be insulting. Like, he's got a very basic mid 90s style. His strikes aren't very impactful. He doesn't do anything crazy. His pile driver is actually one of the safest ones I've ever seen because he always lands right on the meat of his butt, and that's a sign that you're doing everything you can to protect the neck of the dude that you're doing that to. He's just really good at being safe. That being said, he's also not very exciting in the ring either. He is a personality though, like that's the thing, and I don't like the heel Eric Young because he's not that he's not that personable guy anymore. He's not that engrossing and entertaining guy. Like remember when he first really got over in '06 when he was doing the Don't Fire Eric dance that later became the Fandango and nobody ever gave Eric Young credit for? Bastards. Like he was great. Like him having the drinking contest with James Storm, him, feuding with Bobby Roode and tagging with Kazarian, like all that was great stuff. Then they're like, we're gonna make you evil, Eric, and I'm like, no one wants to see that. Then he went to being bearded Eric, and he was great, and him and ODB had that great little run. And he was feuding with like TV stars, like that was great television. I don't care what anyone says, especially knowing how much of a bitch Scott Baio is today. Watching Eric Young power drive Scott Baio and dealing with one of the members of the Brady Bunch was fantastic. I want that Eric Young. I don't want this Eric Young. Like we talked about last week with Diener. I don't want this Diener. I want Cody Diener. Get her. I want him doing his quarantines. I want him talking about his neighbor that he just takes the hose of and uses. Like that's the shit that I love about wrestling is like the more nonsensical aspects of it can be so entertaining. And I feel like when you're just going base, I'm mean and evil and brr her her her. It's like, all right, but what else are you? Like if I want to see someone pretend to fight, like I'll watch the UFC.
Mhm.
Jorge Masvidal, where you at? You get fucking 5 rounds with a dude and you can't finish him, so you sucker punch him. I'm just saying that's soft. Like Froyo, but Marcus Eric Young. You're a bigger fan than I am of the guy, at least with his in ring work as a top heel. Who would you have rather seen if not Young?
Yeah, like I said, Dorn would have been an impressive choice. Like he's physically imposing, he's got that size. That would have been another from I guess a stat and aesthetic perspective, size or what have you, a mountain for him to climb because that's kind of been Josh's thing. Even though he's one of the best wrestlers on the roster, having him go up against guys like Jonah and even Moose, and then Dorn, that would have been like some real challenges for him because that's why he thrived as next division champion. Um, but I guess if not Moose, I mean not Young. I don't. I mean, have we seen him go against PCO?
No, but I don't think I'd like that one because PCO is what he is,
Yeah.
and I don't know that you can really ask for much more beyond that. Because I don't think you're
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
get
trying to.
a classic out of PCO.
Honestly, I don't know if you get a classic out of this next guy either, but it's I'm trying to not say Edwards and Taven.
I think Taven in time, not today
Taven.
because he
Okay.
he didn't really have a great run in Ring of Honor as champion because they didn't know how to book him.
Yeah.
So I would hold off on Taven. Um,
Yeah.
Switchblade makes the most sense. I think getting Jay White, but I don't know if they would even let him lose to Alexander. Because I think
Yeah. That.
when Bullet Club lost to Honor No More, they did it with Chris Bay taking the loss, or one of the Good Brothers.
But who handed him that first loss? Shelly or Saban? It was Shelly, right?
Yeah, I think so. Now
Yeah, because
Shelly, like you don't even need to go with like a heel. You could do Alex Shelley finally getting a shot at the title.
true.
20th anniversary. You're bringing back all these old gimmick matches. I'm sure there's going to be hopefully some past wrestlers and personalities popping up.
Or they could do this thing where they have a because since I love their multi-man matches, have I guess a five-way of former champions. You get EY in there, you get Swan in there, Edwards, and obviously you can go Saving and maybe somebody else.
Moose.
And yeah, Moose, and let them guys go, and then we get either it come down to Swan or Saban. That's a good, like you said. At this point, it don't have to be a heel, which is the good thing about it. So like I said, I appreciate EY. I certainly appreciated him more um, in a specific sense because he delivered us for Magnus. Uh, at one time, whether people feel like he was the guy to do it or not. He had a run with him, man. Like I said, that was that time he had that beard. He was coming off the ODB stuff. He had the beard, and like you said, the felt like 3 or 4 TV shows at a time. He really, was everybody's favorite guy. Came off really well. We saw that come to the end, and eventually he left the company, came back, like I said, as the evil Nick and Morat with the tats, and also he had his stint in NXT with Sanity. He kind of moved that and brought it back, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I think it's one of those situations where this feels like a buffer to whatever Alexander needs to do next. And I think to your point, it will be a great thing for them to build up with Jay White, but they're kind of seemingly occupied with Honor No More. Now, the great thing is we kind of seen Alexander have a brush with Honor No More when he was like, I've already faced, a bunch of hurdles. What's 5 more? And like I dug that because he was like, screw it. Like I'll take all y'all on. So made me feel like Jet Li when he was his evil twin in the afterlife had to fight all them people coming up the pyramid. That was cool. But I'm Eula. I'm nobody's bitch. But yeah, man, I think White would be the guy to do. But like you said, it's about the loss. Do you hand White that second loss? Do you treat him like Omega, or do is it more important to hand Impact that win? and do it. I think he may be willing to do it, but again, it might not be in his hands. You know.
That's not untrue. By, the best Jet Li movie was Kiss of the Dragon. You ever see that one?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, it's so many of those movies, man, classic.
The fight scene with him and the two blonde twins, where like there's the small one and the big one, in the office right before the end. Oh, it was so good. It's right. It was right up there with the house fight scene from the first Transporter film. It's fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, we're getting it's the 20th anniversary, so we're getting all sorts of goodies at Slammiversary.
Yes, we are.
We're getting Josh Alexander finally as champion. We're gonna have a 5-man, 4-man Ultimate X match, 5-man Ultimate X match. People are gonna be doing an Ultimate X match.
Yeah.
And Saban, I think, is in it. I think Shelly might be in it. Speedball's in it. It's gonna be awesome. But we're also getting the first ever Queen of the Mountain match, which I could have sworn already happened.
You would.
Well, I thought it happened on like one of those one night onlys.
Gotta go back and look. I don't know, but what you think with everything that they were doing to cement women's wrestling as a foundation, a cornerstone in their company, would have did it. But looking back on it, maybe that would have been a bit too much to try to like, oh, look what we got our women doing, as opposed to letting the likes of like Gail Kim and Austin Clone just go out there and have at it, and just letting people be drawn in by that. Because if you do too many gimmicks too early, it's like, are your women really like different, or is just you making us think they are like what WWE do? You know.
No, I was pretty sure it happened at a anniversary in 2015 or so. Maybe it was on a one night only. I'm gonna look. But
Wait a
Marcus,
minute.
here's the lineup for this week for this match. You said wait a minute, and I was delayed.
Do you think that? Yeah, because this entails with the penalty box of it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. We haven't had one since 2016.
And that was when Jared did it last, right? When he came back.
No, this was right after. There's actually 3 after Jared did. Jared did it in 2015, so a year prior at Slammiversary. He
Yeah.
defeated Matt Hardy, Eric Young, Drew Galloway, and Bobby Roode. And then on Impact, in August of that year, PJ Black defeated Bobby Lashley, Chris Mordetsky, aka Chris Adonis, aka Chris Masters, Eric Young, and Robbie E for the vacant King of the Mountain title. And then Eric Young defeated Bram, Jimmy Havoc, Big Damo, and I shit you not, Will Ospreay to
Uh,
retain the King of the Mountain title. And then the last one was Bram retaining the King of the Mountain title over Eli Drake, Andrew Everett, Jesse Goddard, and Eddie Edwards. We have not had one in 6 years. And it's going to be Tasha Steeles, Deanna Parazzo, Mia Yim, Jordan Grace, and Chelsea Green.
y'all really couldn't have handed that spot to Lish. Come on, man. Chelsea
Right?
Green.
Like, we don't need Chelsea in this fucking match. We
Lish
don't
would
need
have been
Chelsea in this fucking company. Come on.
adorable. Lish in a penalty box would be just mouthing up. And the smaller she is, she might be able to squeeze out if they got them old penalty boxes.
Here's what you do. You have her get the first pin. Nobody's paying attention. She climbs the ladder, and she reaches, but she can't reach far enough.
And she's on the top, and she's on the top of the ladder.
And she's just pouting at that point. She's holding the belt, pouting because she knows she would have won, but she's just too little. Uh, I'm excited about this. I think it's a foregone conclusion with this that Chelsea. Stop. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Tasha's going to lose because the King of the Mountain rarely ever won. I think twice. Let's see. It's Joe and Suicide won it in 2009. Eric Young and Bram. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 times in 12 matches have we had the champion retain. So I think that's something to ponder. We've had 2 X Divisions King of the Mountain matches. So that's dope.
Yeah, shout out to that when we had the good suicide. I think
Yeah.
was that Hills or Kazarian. Either one, it don't matter.
Daniels was first, and then Kazarian, because Kazarian was like, I lost us the World X Cup, and now Daniels is back, and now I need to go on hiatus, and it's like, all right, sure, bud, sure. Thoughts on who you think is gonna win?
Man, oh God, if they even try this crap with Chelsea, I'm walking out of my own room.
I was gonna say, so you're gonna buy a ticket, fly down, walk in, angrily throw down your sweatshirt, and then leave.
Exactly.
That's fair. I'd do the same thing.
But I'd say because you said it's
Tasha, Deanna, Mia, Jordan, Chelsea.
I mean, the great thing about this match, it never actually ever eliminated out of the match. But yeah, I feel like it'll come down to somebody like Grace and Yim or Steels and Yim. But like you said, the retention rate is low. But having said that, I would imagine this is a no DQ match because of the chaos of it all. And we know the ace in the hole that Steel continues to have. So,
assuming Savannah's found her way out of the Undead Realm.
Oh yeah, she is because I think she interrupted the segment or the announcement of the match with Savannah.
She must have used the couch door and exit. It's what I use. I think this is the perfect opportunity to try to sway Mia Yim into signing a full-time contract. So, yeah, here goes nothing.
If they didn't get an initial 6-month contract, with telling her she was going to win in the first place.
Well, like signing a contract with Impact is like buying a bowl of cereal, like buying a box of cereal. You know you're going to be getting one of them dumb, cheap ass prizes at the bottom. You just got to be willing to dig for it. So yeah, me is winning that belt.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to the match, man. Like that X Division, women's Ultimate X match was really good. So I'm looking to see what they try to bring. And with Gail Kim, I would imagine obviously helping out with the match. Like I said, definitely looking forward to this one. Not Chelsea Green in it at all, but
Who was in the Ultimate X match? Do you remember?
that was Grace, Rosemary, um, uh, what you call his wife, Wentz's wife,
Kimberly.
Kimberly, Grace, Lish, Rosemary, and who else? Was that it?
Okay, so I found it. It's Lady Frost, Jordan Grace, Tasha Steeles, Alicia Edwards, Chelsea Green, and Rosemary.
Yeah, because Steele's won it. That's how. Yeah.
So I would like to have seen Lady Frost replace Deanna and Alicia replace Chelsea Green. That would have been how I would have done it. Speaking of which, the nope, I thought that was the Slammiversary one. Let's see, maybe we can find out what the Slammiversary Ultimate X match is. So far we have Ace Austin versus Kenny King versus Laredo Kid or Mike Bailey so far. So Laredo Kid and Mike Bailey have to wrestle on Impact. The winner gets into the match. So far only Kenny King and Ace Austin have qualified. So there's going to be 6 men total for this.
Well, Laredo's nice knowing you're not getting past Speedball.
No one gets past the Speedball.
King. King. So that should.
Wait, what?
No, I was doing Kenny's entrance. King. King. That's his thing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So 6 men, uh, Austin, Bailey, King. I would imagine they want to slide Trey in there. He
Yeah.
ain't done.
And I would imagine
Uh,
the machine guns will be involved in some way.
that'll be cool. Do you think they try to throw Cutler in there as like some type of extra?
Oh God, I hope not. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
do you mean Macklin?
Yeah, yeah, Macklin.
Yeah, I'm still going with. Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah. Well, at least we ain't got to worry about them throwing Grace in there. She's occupied, so properly.
True. True. Well,
Yeah.
true. So let's talk about our final story. This happened over the weekend. An indie promotion. It was at Intense Wrestling Entertainment's Legion 300 event. It featured a wrestler by the name of Joe Black. He was wrestling Anthony Henry, who I've actually seen a little bit of. It was in Augusta, Georgia. And I don't know the particulars, but basically what ended up happening was the fan was mouthing off throughout the main event. He said something to Black. Black then proceeded to smack the fan's hat off. The fan then attacked Black with a headbutt, causing the locker room, security, and everyone in between to get involved. I'm pretty sure it was declared no contest. So here's the thing, Marcus. I think we've gotten into this culture of assigning blame. And once you assign blame on one party, the other party is absolved. I don't like that. Because I think you can be a douchebag. And the other person be a douchebag, but yet be varying degrees of douchebaggery. If the fan was harassing Joe Black all night or all match long, that's not cool. Like, it's one thing to heckle, because like that's the whole point. You're heckling the heels, and I remember David Arquette getting yelled at by his then wife, Courtney Cox, because he was booing Dee or someone in the Millionaires Club, and Courtney was like, "What are you doing? Why are you yelling at him? He's your friend." And he's like, "No, you're supposed to." And it was like the silliest, most wholesome thing I've ever heard in my life. But like that's kind of the point. Like you're supposed to boo. Like I love throwing out inane insults like your pasta's probably dry and brittle. Like it stops you for a second. You're like, what? Like it's not condemning you to hell. It's not some gross insult. It's like your Lego built tilt slightly to the left. It's weird, but it's an insult because I'm saying that you're not doing something right. But some people they're not smart or clever or funny or entertaining or handsome or me. I'm sorry, what were we talking about? I started thinking about myself and I was like, I am a good bitch.
Trying to cash a check with a head, but your face might not have been able to cash.
Right. No, I actually know I was being facetious, but thank you. But there are times when fans, they get little too much pep in their step, if you will. Their ants in their pants get a little too out of control, and it appears that's what this guy did. Now I don't know what was said. I've always taken the stance though that unless it's a direct, immediate threat to your life or someone close to you, there's no reason to go fisticuffs. Now if he goes, "I'm gonna murder your baby," I'm gonna look like if I got like all the badges and judges in the world, I'm gonna look the other way on that one. She'd be like, "Oh, nope, shouldn't have said that." Oh, look, here's a piece of grass. How rare! Just let the ass kicking proceed at that point. But short of that, I because I worked in private security, Mark. Like, I know how fast these things escalate, which is why you don't ever cross that line. So I don't have the ability to say, well, he deserved to get smacked by Joe Black, because I don't think words ever should allow for physical violence unless it's a actual threat. In which case, you fucking go off. So Black smacked his hat off, and that pissed off the fan, who then headbutted him. And I feel like at this point, we've now assigned enough blame on both parties that they're both douchebags. This was an entire situation of two dudes who should have walked away. And I don't believe in toxic masculinity. I think that's a myth. I think it's a joke. I think it's a fucking slogan. But if there was ever a case for it, it was right here. You got mad that the dude who was play fighting was winning? What? Like, could you imagine being mad at like Hercules for defeating the Hydra and costing you $300 on a bet? Like, why would you do that? Why would you bet on a cartoon? Why would you get
It's
mad over fake fighting?
it's dumb. And by the way, that guy that did that, he wasn't me and Chad size.
No, he big boy. He was
Relative
Louis Elastic size.
size, which is why he really felt like when they started throwing hands that he was able to get with him. He was not outmatched by Joe Black.
I want to be
Uh,
clear though. If I was dumb like that, big man, I'd still throw. Just because I'm
I mean,
tiny, don't mean I'm not gonna be crazy.
I mean that ain't the time to be Chris Rocking. If your ass throw a headbutt, you better be ready to throw a hell of a lot more. Specifically if your headbutt don't, ain't no knockout blow. So I mean, like I said, he did it from the side.
Yep.
Like it's like you got to be, you know what I'm saying? So you could have hit him in the temple or anything. But also to your point, and I guess point if people are trying to pick a side here, we don't know what he said to the dude. You know what I'm saying? Like what constitutes, like you said, heckling is one thing, and sticks and stones. That whole argument is adorable in certain situations, but you can't say certain things to certain people. Like I get the fan perspective and trying to keep things prudential, but you can't say certain things to certain people. Like we've seen recently where some of these damn NBA fans have kind of gotten beside themselves
Mm-hmm.
on certain stuff that they saying. They even going to the point where they putting the hands apparently on people's family members. I think who that was? It was Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
My family member that got touched. He's like, yo, I don't give a damn who I am in this league. You're not finna. I don't care how much you pay for your ticket. You finna have to take that and get a refund on that ticket and put towards your hospital bill if you touch anybody I care about. And I 100% stand with them on that because you can't really. Some of these fans really overstep their boundaries and they think they owe a certain level of I guess physical endowment that they don't have. But when it comes to this guy, man, like I said, I don't know what he said. It don't necessarily take a lot to send certain people off, specifically when there's a race barrier there. And certain people come to those shows just to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like I said, even if you take all that out, the minute you headbutt somebody, you better be ready to go down to the ground. Because that's, like I said, I throw that in there with a slap, front hand or backhand, spitting, and whatever else somebody could list off. But a headbutt is pretty definitive of, I want all the smoke. You know what I'm saying? Because it's, we saw, like I said, when Will Smith walked up and slapped Chris Rock, he didn't headbutt him. If he headbutted him, I'm like, you can't take no headbutt on no chin. Now that's yeesh.
I don't know what's more embarrassing. Being the dude that started the fight because of play fighting, or throwing a headbutt that did so little that the dude just walked through it. Because here's the thing: if you're throwing a headbutt, that's a game ender. Like you're not starting anything. That's the end of the show. We're closing the curtain. Everyone's heading home. Lights out. Because a headbutt should always be delivered downward, up through the nose, with the top of your head, not with your forehead, with the top of your head. Because you want to slam that nose into a bunch of billion little pieces. So the fact that this dude just kind of like hit him like he was King Kong, like, what did you think was gonna happen, buddy? That was not a good headbutt.
Yeah, this is
His technique was trash.
yeah, and I get it. I mean, also there was a barrier there, but like I said, this wasn't no little dude, um, and it was like mere inches between the two of them. So, but yeah, man, I mean, you can at that point, like I said, we do the right or wrong thing all day, but once the headbutt is thrown, you can't really. I don't know too many people that have just shrugged that off. And like I said, we don't know what he said to him. And obviously, like you said, say what you want as long as you don't touch me. And I'm pretty sure that's a lot of people's thing, but at the same time, like I said, certain people just can't be said certain things too. It's not that hard to trigger certain people on certain things. So, and also because he slapped his hat, which was a indication of like watch yourself, but I'm not like physically imposing on you like I could be. So I'm gonna slap the hat off. We see that all the time, uh, in the streets, if you will. So it's a check without a physical check, if you will.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think that has any place though, especially in this situation, because I feel like when you have that type of
Yeah,
situation where you're already definitively in the right, like if he's talking junk to you, whether it's racial
yeah,
or just calling you a little bitch, the minute you slap him, you now become the aggressor. You've escalated it. And I feel like that's why, in my opinion, this situation is a lose lose for everyone involved. There's clearly more onus on the fan because he clearly ramped up the aggression. But Joe Black doesn't get a pass for putting his hand on a fan, in my opinion. Like, he didn't need to touch that dude. And in return, the fan did not need to try to fucking start a riot. That was all ego driven. So everyone looks bad here. There is no good guy in this scenario. It's two dudes that didn't know how to walk away. But I also understand that some people don't know how to walk away. But that also doesn't mean that that's not still the right way to handle this. Like, if Joe Black walks away, that dude gets thrown out, and we don't talk about this. And I feel like that's
yeah.
kind of the point here. That and fair or not, like if Joe Black doesn't slap that fan, we're not here talking. And I think I do agree with you. Like, there's a difference. Like, if Joe Black's family was there and this dude was heckling them and like fucking touching on them, all right, yeah. Especially like he had a kid there or like an elderly parent. Like, I still wouldn't agree with it, but I wouldn't be like, no, I'd just look away. Just let it happen. Because like, at that point, once you start fucking with somebody's like compromised family members, or like people who can't defend themselves, if that dude wants to get hands on you, well, why the fuck are you messing around with an elderly person or a little kid? Like, at that point, you deserve your ass kicked. Even if I don't necessarily believe in it, I would just let Joe Black kick the dude's ass and just oh, look,
Yeah,
papa.
I mean, we've seen a lot too, being watching WWE for years. We can only imagine what some of those folks have said to some of those guys and gals, and some gals have even some of the women have had to kind of deal with being touched in certain instances. And we even had, of course, some idiots jump the barricade, rush the ring, and I think we both agree at that point it's fair game.
Oh yeah. At that
But yeah,
point, we finding out what color you are, inside and out.
threw yourselves to the wolves like that, sir.
Oh look, you're
Uh,
red and yellow. How interesting.
Time to go mobile. Um, But yeah, man, it's just it's weird. It's one of those things. Like I said, ultimately, it's the show that suffers, and
Hmm.
everybody that came there to see the show that wasn't being a complete douchebag by ringside and potentially wanted to start something because he wanted to be the hardest guy in the room, which is dumb. If you're gonna pay, you want to be the hardest guy in the room, then go to a wrestling school, train to be whatever badass you think you are, and get in the ring and prove it, as opposed to trying to be the big man on campus sitting across a barricade and shouting expletives. Like that makes you come off twice as stupid. So
Case and just kind of a wrap up. Don't get drunk and heckle. Don't slap fans. Don't headbutt people that are as big as you. I feel like these are simple rules that we should all be able to follow.
yeah, and just is yeah, man, and just be always be aware, man. You can start something, but if you can't finish it, that's not. Don't set yourself up to get your ass whooped, then get your ass whooped, and then blame the guy like he overreacted.
Yeah, and that's something as much as I'm not trying to defend Joe Black or the fan, I'm also not going to sit here and crucify either. Mostly Joe Black, because there needs to be a certain level of acceptance of behavior, and like I understand that like you should never touch the fan, but
Yeah,
as I said to you, if all the fan did was slap his hand back in return,
yeah.
I feel that's fair. You slap me, I slap you. That's fair. But the
hmm
dude escalated it with a headbutt. It's like, that's
Yeah,
nasty. Like,
at that point, yeah, it
because
was
like
it
you could
was
fuck someone up.
it's instant war. Like I said, he did it from the side. He could have caught him in a temple.
Yeah, he could have really fucked him up.
And yeah, but we living on those times also now where it's like if somebody they're just sitting down, restaurant outside, restaurant, some dude walks up and punches him in the back of the head like it's a joke or something. Chad goes up and puts him on the ground and breaks his nose. The dude's like, "Hey man, all I did was punch you in the back of the head." I'm like, you can't control how he reacts to your effortlry.
Yeah,
Like he didn't.
the minute you escalate like that, like you're getting what's coming to you. So like at that point, yeah, ultimately the whole situation just looks ugly.
No
I
situation.
I
Yeah,
don't feel like this is a career ender for Joe Black simply because like there's so much we don't know about this. Like if he had been like a bully the entire show and like was harassing people that we don't know about, and the guy was standing up to Joe Black, that'd be a different situation. But I don't feel like that's what this is. But only time will tell exactly what the full details of this situation was. And
yeah,
the stupid thing about it was Joe Black looked really impressive. Like I saw him, like damn, that's a star.
yeah, man. It's one of those things. It's always weird too because a lot of these people try to like do and say stuff because they really feel like karma ain't gonna hit instantly. Like I'm a fan, he not gonna get to me fast enough. He's not gonna do this fast enough. The barricades here, security's gonna stop him. And then you look at he done got 4 or 5 punches off on your dome. It's like what happened? I'm like your math was bad. That's what happened. Y'all math, dog. Nothing added up on either side, sir. Okay. Um, 4 was pie in your face is what it was today. So yeah, it's just one of them things. But yeah, hopefully it's that's people learn and look at that and they realize there needs to be decorum on both sides. Yeah. So decorum on
There are
both
good
sides, man.
people on both sides. I mean, they might both be douchebags. We don't know that. Like, they might
Yeah.
both be like the
With
worst.
the worst. Speaking of the worst, we have a apparently we have an update.
We have
An
an
official
update.
an official statement apparently.
Oh, okay. I was concerned what update we were about to read because we have a few that we are kind of waiting on updates on. This is the least aggressive of the ones, though. All right, so it says when Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived. Who is this from, by the way?
No, apparently it's official WWE statement.
Oh, this is official W. Oh, okay. Oh shit. I feel like this is gonna be naughty. Like we shouldn't be reading this out loud. This is the stuff parents say to each other. When Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE head of talent relations John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as a tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with two of their opponents, even though they'd have matches with those individuals in the past with no consequences. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised tonight's main event. Ooh.
And the plot thickens.
So, who was in the main event? Do we remember?
It was supposed to be, I think, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Asuka versus Becky Lynch, Doudrop, and Nikki Ash.
Is this against Doudrop and Nikki Ash, you think?
I have no idea.
Because, like, Becky Lynch is too unathletic to be dangerous. Like, she sucks. She sucks at trying to suck, right? So, like, she could never hurt anyone because, like, what the hell is she going to do? She doesn't jump. She's not strong. Like, Sasha Banks probably has more power in her than she does. Like, all right, that's not the issue. Is it Doudrop? Doudrop is heavy. I mean, like, I know we're all about body positivity and shit, but Sasha Banks is 110 pounds. Doudrop's about 300. I don't care what anyone says. Like, you can't protect yourself from just weight being dropped on you. It's one of the reasons why people didn't want to work with Viscera and Yokozuna and Vader, because they weren't great at distributing their weight.
Okay, real quick. Apparently, it was supposed to be a 6-pack challenge where the winner earns a women's championship opportunity.
Okay, and it was those 6 women, though.
Yeah.
Okay. And Asuka's not known for her terrible, violent nature in the rings. Like, I don't know, man. This
It
does
feels,
not make them look good.
it's a weird thing because again, obviously WWE could report whatever they want to report. To come out looking better. It just feels like one of those situations. That story when we about Lynch, not Sasha and Becky like throwing a fit in the hall of a hotel or
Oh,
something.
Bailey and
Yeah,
Sasha.
Bailey and
Yeah.
yeah, Bailey and Sasha throwing a fit. And then that kind of just got left like that for years. Like we don't know because obviously Sasha has always has grown to be more spoken out over the years or what have you. And certainly have had her instances. We know she definitely had to take a break, which I commend her for actually doing. But Naomi's always been professional,
Mm-hmm.
always waves, always come out like a consummate professional, somebody that does what's ever asked of her, whether it be on or off screen, has always come off well, very well liked. So for it to get to a point where she's doing something like this, I feel like that says a lot. But at the same time, um, yeah, like you said, it's not the best looking thing. Specifically, when we found out that they basically put the titles on the desk and kind of walked out. If that's how it actually went down, 'cause like I said, they can twist these stories like a pretzel
Oh
fresh
yeah,
off the
absolutely.
So
But I also want to
yeah,
go back to the idea of, you're right. Naomi does not have a reputation of being a problem at all, which is why so many people love her because she deserves more than she gets. This may have been a situation where, like you said, she felt obligated to follow Sasha out. Like there's a whole lot here we don't know about, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out because I think this might be the end of them in the company because you don't
yeah,
release dirt like this.
yeah. It's definitely always interesting when they release an official statement because a lot of times they kind of hit you with the sins of the son shall not bother the father type of deal and
Yup.
kind of ignore. But when they put out official statements, you know, yeah.
Sasha Banks is unfollowed WWE Vince McMahon, others on Twitter. Apparently, Alexa Bliss came back tonight, so that's interesting. Good for her. Good for Bliss. Hopefully, they actually know how to use her because, my God, they have not done anything with her in like 3 years. All right, Marcus, any final thoughts on this week's show?
That's all I got. It was a good. This was a good one. But like you said, that unfolding story that's gonna be interesting to follow for the rest of the week.
Oh, we got a lot of interesting stories to follow this week, that's for sure. So, with all that being said, you can find us on our social medias. Marcus is over at Paradox Kid, PARADOXKID.
Sorry, I muted myself. That's me.
There it is. You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show. You can find that show by going to Twitter at True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. That's True Penny Show on Twitter. They talk more international wrestling than we do, so check them out. You can also find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdcorp, on the Instagram at Chad's Photo at ChadSphotohut. Website's realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. You can find us there and follow all of our shows. We're going to be bringing back Gamecore soon. Matt and I are going to work on a reboot of that.
Nice.
Yep. So yeah, that's about it. We'll be back next Tuesday for more wrestling out and that. God damn it, next Monday. One of those is right. Is there a show this weekend?
Not to my knowledge. The only thing that's going on, big wrestling rise right now, I guess, is the best of Super Juniors.
And True Penny Show will probably be covering that. So no Sunday reviews this week. But we'll be back next Monday for more Wrestling Underground action. So if you like what you've been hearing, check us out. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night.